What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we're going to be talking about the 6-speed transmission in these late model M8s, specifically third gear on the counter shaft. As most of you are aware, third gear does have a bit of an issue sometimes on these big bore high output applications. We've obviously had a few recently with some third gear issues. We're going to talk about a modification that we can do to the standard transmission that can help extend the life of the transmission and reduce the risk of an exploded third gear. This one in particular is from Shane's Breakout. Today's video we're going to be installing the new Screamin Eagle King 6 transmission, but also we're going to be running through a modification that we can do to the OEM transmission for third gear here to help extend the life of the transmission and reduce the risk of a symptom that this transmission here has. So some of you guys out there may be experiencing it, you're in third gear, you're on the throttle hard and it might feel like it has a sudden surge. It's not a very harsh bang, but it's more of a thump like through the gear range. And that's what's happening is the shift fork here, the pocketed dog, is slipping over the lugs and catching back on again. So we're going to talk about a modification that we can do to that. Install the Screamin Eagle King 6 transmission into Shane's and hopefully give you guys a bit of an insight as to what goes on. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so what we're looking at here is a 6-speed transmission which has been somewhat disassembled to a certain degree, but basically we're looking at, this is our counter shaft here, that's our main shaft. So here we're looking at first gear, second gear, third gear, fourth gear, fifth gear and sixth. And on the main shaft we have first, second, third, fourth and fifth. And sixth gear for the main shaft is inside the transmission. Now that's in there, which is attached to the output pulley or sprocket. So that is bolted to this. So the sprocket here, the pulley bolts to that main shaft gear. Now, what we're looking at here, the issue that we get between with third gear mainly, so what happens is this gear sits up like this. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Our dog ring is there, this is fourth. Let's see if we can hold all this together. Let me just get this set up here. Alright, so now that's all obviously it's on the shaft here, but we're just sitting it up here so we can see for the minute. Let me just try and hold this together for you guys. So when you select third gear, this guy on the shift fork, so these are our shift forks. When you select your gear, this drum rotates, and as those little tabs here follow this track, it moves these guys over and back like this, which slides your shift fork over and back into whichever gear you're going into. Now what's happening as you select third gear, this dog ring comes over, so there's our little slots there. They line up onto these dogs here, these lugs, and once it locks in, then the gear is locked up. Now what's actually going on, what can happen is these edges here on the dog, let me see if I can get this down for you to see. This edge here on the dog starts to round off because of an incomplete shift or a very soft shift. So you can probably see, hopefully you can see here, it starts to round off on the corner of the dog, and then that doesn't allow it to lock into the dog ring on this side. So actually when it's all locked up and there's a lot of pressure on it, that rounded edge, which is on this side here, it will allow it to slip out, because the helical cut gear, this is the gear here, it's called a helical cut, it wants to force itself apart, and of course the shift fork's holding the dog ring over against it, so it can actually slip out, jump around to the next dog and go back in, and you'll feel a jolt or a jerk in the gear. That's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario is third gear will just explode and go to a million pieces. But what we've been doing on some of them, if you remove this washer here and we add one of these in that has just been machined down slightly just to take that little edge off it, because it's actually a little bit thicker. Hopefully you can not pick these up. Hopefully you can see it's actually a little bit thicker when this focuses. It's just a slight bit thicker. The one on the right is just a little bit thicker than the one on the left, but there's a little bit of play between second and third. So when the shift fork, the shift ring comes over to grab third, if it's not lined up properly, it will push the gear away to take up that little bit of tolerance, and then it will grab the gear. and that can induce this wear here on the ring. So you can see that wear there, how it's not been grabbing in between and then rolling over. So that's inducing this rounding of the dog lug there, and it starts to wear out the shift ring here as well. So there's a little bit of play there. On that Screamin Eagle transmission, they've actually done something different to remove all that play altogether. Righto guys, so we're looking at a 6-speed here. Now this is a complete stock transmission. I'm going to show you what we're talking about. So first, second and third gear here. So this bit of play here, so watch this. So when you actually go to shift into third, and if the dogs aren't lined up perfectly like that before it goes in, it's actually got to push the gear away and then lock it in. So that can actually induce some of that rounding on this, on the leading edge of the dog. So what we do, we take out this guy here, that washer there, which is this guy here. Okay, and we take one of these and we just face it down a little bit so that little ridge is off, which sort of ends up looking like this, which is actually a little bit thicker than that one. So hopefully the camera's going to show it. Focus. So hopefully you can see, but it is, I should get some micrometers and measure for you and show you, but it is a little bit thicker. So that guy goes in place of this guy, and that takes up that bit of play. So as I said, the screen, so you can see how much play is there. So again, if this is all rotating, it's a constant mesh transmission, but when you shift into third, if those dogs aren't lined up properly straight away, it'll push the gear away. Let me just try and demonstrate. So see how the dogs aren't lined up at the moment? So it's just out of, this is all spinning very fast, but if just for that second, it's got to push it over first. See how it's got to push the gear away? You can see that gap tighten up. And then as it rotates and goes in, so that can induce that. So we take that shim up, so that's just hard up against there, and then that'll just go straight in on a much more positive shift. So that does reduce that third gear issue, but of course you still run the risk of destroying third gear if you're really letting it eat and you're racing it a lot. So definitely should consider some sort of upgraded transmission, whether it's a Baker or the Screamin Eagle. But yeah, this is a modification we're doing that really does help reduce the risk of it failing.
Rightio, we'll just take a quick look at this transmission. This is the Screamin Eagle King 6.1. A lot of benefits on this, but you can see straight out of the gate, Harley have shimmed up this clearance here between second and third. They've got a completely different setup in there. And on top of that, the dog lugs here, hopefully you can see, they've got what's called a back cut on them. So when the pocketed dog, the shift ring on the shift hook there, goes over into third, it holds itself into place so it can't spread apart. So it's pretty straightforward, the reassembly as the gearbox comes complete, but a lot of benefits with this transmission, guys. Upgraded bearings, we've got shot peen gears, everything's just been heat treated. This thing is just absolutely beautiful, and you can really tell the difference when you shift the gear. It's just much more positive through your shift lever. And yeah, this thing, I don't think we're going to have any issues with this, with all the horsepower and torque we put through it. So all I'm doing here, guys, is just running the transmission through all the gears just to make sure everything works, because the last thing you want to do is put a transmission back together and find out something's not right when it's all back together. So yeah, you can just see here running all the way down to first and then all the way up into sixth and back down to neutral again.
Well, I've just finished a new demo for myself too, guys. So this thing here, low rider S, as you can see. Yeah, I know, I do a lot of low rider S's. I love them. They're just cool. This one here, it's a Gen 2, it's a 131 cubic inch combo. It's got a set of standard heads on there. They've been ported and textured up by the guys at 8. I've got some red accents there. I think they look brilliant on there. And you can see you've also got the D&D low cut, which again, I think it's my favorite pipe if I'm honest. I love the sound of it. It performs well. It just has an awesome bark to it. I really love it. Fits well on these Gen 2s as well. I mean, just with the mid mounts on this thing, just tucks in really nicely there. And I'm a fan of the red accents there, guys, too. Hopefully you can see that. Blends in, but this is a genuine accents from Harley. It is a 131. It has a CR 589, which is the big brother of the 485 very popular camshaft.
So it has the same timing events as the 485 and the 515, just more lift. So as you know, the 485 has the big brother of the 515, again, same timing events, just more lift. This 589 is the bigger brother of the 515. So it's still probably a little undercamped for such a big cube, but it is low comp, still the standard 131 Screamin Eagle compression ratio. I'm getting sidetracked here, guys. Look, we've got lots going on. I'll finish this thing. It made 145 and 156 on a Friday afternoon special, guys. Like, that was a Friday afternoon rush tune that I just did. There's probably a few more ponies left in there. There'd be probably 150, 160 maybe, if I can lean on it a bit more. But we've got a turbo build coming up. We've got a 124 cubic inch turbo build. The parts are all here, so we're doing the Trask Tornado kit. Now, I know there's probably a lot of guys going to scream about the fact that it's a 124 inch with the Trask Tornado kit, but that's what we're doing. Why not? Let's give it a go, see what happens. It's going to be running the 485 from Cyclorama, of course the 55mm intake manifold, and we're doing the Screamin Eagle high volume oil pump. Got the 143, that is still happening, guys. Waiting on the heads to get back from Ram's head service. That's going to come together really. That thing is going to be an absolute missile. So yeah, the fat bob is here for the turbo. The the breakout's here for the 143 with the S&S cases. That's all happening. My demo's done. We've just got so much happening, guys. I've been really busy playing catch up, but I just want to thank you all for sticking around and putting up with the delay in between uploads. I got on a roll there the last couple of videos trying to pump them out, and I got sick, and then I caught up with work and just got real busy. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.